Okay, let's talk about the different types of leadership in software engineering. So I've been working in software engineering for over 20 years, and there's a whole lot of different terminologies that are used to describe different styles of leaders, different types of leaders. So I thought we should go through each phase of the software engineering life, the ladder that you go on as a software engineer, and how to be a leader in that particular role and what that particular leadership role entails. So to start with, there's the senior software engineer. Now, a lot of senior software engineers actually do leading without authority. So that means that they don't necessarily have direct authority over people, but they tend to lead by experience, lead by example. You may have people that are running projects as senior software engineers, so technically they're a type of leader to the people within that project, but they don't have direct power over them. So it is still leadership without authority, and typically they get this leadership by being very good at what they do, by being able to work well with people, and by demonstrating knowledge and excellence. So people follow people that they see doing a good job. So you will naturally become a leader as a senior software engineer if people see you doing a good job and think that what you're saying is right, and therefore want to follow along with what you do. It's a perfect example of leadership without authority. The next type of role is a Scrum Master, and I'm going to talk about this in the context of a hands-on engineering Scrum Master. I know typically that's not the case, but I've worked in a lot of different places where the Scrum Master is actually a software engineer, and this is definitely a type of leadership role. The Scrum Master is usually in charge of refinement, sometimes in charge of dishing out the work for people to do, quite often in place to remove obstacles, to push people past boundaries, and direct the team in how to achieve the sprint goals. So that is a definite type of leadership. In some places, becoming a Scrum Master and being an effective Scrum Master is your first step to becoming a team lead, because it shows that you can lead a team, it shows that you can lead a project, it shows that you're organised, it shows that people will listen to you. Again, this isn't the typical Scrum Master, but in a lot of big tech companies, Scrum Masters are engineers within the team that are hands-on engineers whilst also leading the team through being a Scrum Master. The next type is a technical lead. Technical lead usually, and I say usually because every company seems to have a different definition of this, but industry-wide as a standard, the technical lead will be in charge of technical details. So typically a technical lead won't have people leadership, so they won't be doing things like evaluations, compensations, one-to-ones, stuff like that. There will be a technical leader that decides on the sometimes the architecture, usually the tech stack that you're going to use. They're usually setting up, putting in place design decisions, they're doing code reviews, they are setting the technical excellence for the team. They're the people who talk about all things technical. So their leadership capacity is the fact that they have to be confident enough in what they're doing and what they're saying to have other people adopt their practices. So if they're saying we're going to use Python for this project because I think it's the right thing to do, their leadership is by convincing other people to use Python for that project. Now sometimes those other people don't have a choice because it is the technical lead's decision, but sometimes they do. So technical lead is all about, again, leading without direct authority. Usually people don't report into technical leads, but they do have more authority than, say, a senior software engineer. A technical lead is a step above, so they're technically higher than a senior software engineer, but not always having the authority to tell people what to do. So a software engineering team lead, and again, different teams have different companies have different ideas of what a software engineering team lead is. But in my experience, team leads can be either people managers or non-people managers. In places where I've worked, software engineering team leads are people managers. I have been involved in compensation conversations, in evaluations, in KPI setting, in weekly one-to-ones, in people development, all of the things that you would typically associate with a manager, but team leads can take those roles. In other places, software engineering team leads don't have direct reports, so they are guidance for the other people within the team, but they are not a manager in the sense that they don't write reports for people, they don't write KPIs, they don't do people development. They are there to as a point of contact for people within the team to come and ask questions and to help unblock them at sometimes a technical level, sometimes a project level. So software engineering team lead can mean a bunch of different things in a bunch of different places. But generally, well, half the time people leader, half the time not people leader, but a leader nonetheless. The clue's in the name of that one. Software engineering manager. So generally software engineering managers are a step above the team lead. They very rarely have any direct impact on code, architecture, anything to do with the day-to-day writing of software. Managers are usually looking at the long distance goals of the teams. So if they run one team, multiple teams, a group, whatever, they are looking into the distance. They are planning for the future. They are working with product, sales, senior management committees to look at where your product and software needs to be in the future. They are also usually in charge of compensation. They're also usually in charge of yearly evaluations. They are definitely involved in people leadership, so in ensuring that people are developing as they should be. But again, not usually around hands-on, direct software coding, reviewing, that type of stuff. So what are some of the different pathways to leadership? A lot of people need to try a lot of different things. So when you first start off as a junior software engineer, you may not know whether you ever want to be a people leader. You may not know whether you ever want to be a technical leader. You may not know if you ever want to be a manager. So typically people will try out different things. They'll try and run projects. They'll try and become more involved in the products. They'll try and become the testing person, whatever. So the progression from junior engineer isn't always a linear process. You can decide to become the technical lead and become a software engineering technical lead. You can decide to become a non-people managing software engineering team lead, so where you don't necessarily have to worry about managing people, but you want greater roles and responsibility over just writing code. Or you can choose to become a manager, where managers will be more hands-off, they'll overview, they'll look at the future of the product. So lots of different ways to become a leader. And that's not to say that you can't be a leader when you're a junior engineer either, because people follow people who they respect. So if you're a junior engineer and you're absolutely smashing it, and you are making great strides, doing great things with products, you are doing fantastic code reviews, you are pointing out edge cases, you are highlighting things that other people have missed, people will start to follow you, and that is a leadership role. Just because you're a junior engineer does not mean you cannot lead. You can lead in very small ways, such as taking on a very specific project. You can lead in more general ways, such as becoming a technical expert in an area. Or you can lead in whatever way that you feel you can lead. But it doesn't mean that you can't lead just because you're a junior engineer. So good luck with your career ladder and wherever you decide to go. As I've mentioned, these terms are slightly interchangeable across different companies, so if they mean a different thing to you, sorry about that. This is just how I've seen it over the years. So full write-up on my blog, follow me here on YouTube for more content like this, and sign up to my weekly newsletter where I write about leadership, software engineering, management concepts, all that type of stuff. I'll leave all the links below. Thanks.